They shipped the 82nd to a world called Duloc-Prime. Not a war zone, not a siege, just a planetary quarantine zone filled with pestilent, rotting swampland, the bogs of the damned tears. The inquisitorial charter called it a green plague suppression. I expected something bloated by Nurgle, or perhaps a new, cunning breed of orc. No report, no briefing, no prayer to the Emperor prepared me for the enemy we actually faced. The first sign was not a visual confirmation. It was the stench. It punched through the filters of my gas mask, a truly foul mixture. Not just the rot of the swamp, not just sulfur or decay. It was that, yes, but mixed with something sweet, something cloyingly artificial, like cheap, stale synth candy. It was an unnatural, sickly smell that defied chemical analysis. We found him in the dead center. There were no fortifications, no heavy bolters, just a crude hut cobbled together from rotting timber and starship debris. The area around the hut, a field of toxic, putrescent mud, was what he called his swampland. My Kriegers, accustomed to trenches and ferrocrete, were clearly unsettled by the sheer squishiness of the terrain. And then I saw the creature itself. Shrek. Yes, I see your doubt, but he was colossal, green, like an ancient algae-covered tank hull. Two strange tubular growths protruded from his head, like mutated horns or auditory organs. His skin was thick, his clothing nothing more than coarse rags and ill-fitting tunic. He was a perfect abomination. But the most disturbing thing was his face, not the madness of chaos nor the rage of a beast, just stubbornness and a bizarre sense of contentment in his filth. He was not alone. Near the hut, three smaller, sickly green creatures, juvenile copies, were playing in the mud, presided over by a female, also green, though showing rudimentary humanoid features. Xenophilia, mutation, heresy of domesticity. It was all of it, compounded into an unbearable truth. The incident began when my scout grenadier, attempting protocol, carelessly stepped too close to the perimeter of the property. My Kriegers snapped their lasguns up, ready for the inevitable execution. I raised my bolt pistol. The creature looked at us, then at my grenadier struggling in the mire, and then it roared. The sound was like a thunderclap, utterly inhuman, yet articulated with a chilling clarity. "Get oot o' my swamp." He charged. No tactical finesse, no flanking maneuver, just raw, furious, proprietorial power. He didn't use a weapon. He didn't fire. He simply grabbed. He scattered my well-drilled line like autumn leaves. He snatched Kriegers, threw them into toxic pools, smashed a lasgun against his knee like it was kindling. I saw one of my best men lifted and hurled a dozen meters. Our discipline, our truth, it faltered before his absurd, brute force. I screamed the command over the Vox. "Hold the line, fire for effect. This is a Xenos threat, for the Emperor." The lasgun sputtered, but his thick hide, or whatever protective mutation it was, made him unnervingly resilient to energy fire. He kept coming, annihilating all sense of order. And then, the second anomaly appeared, something far, far worse than the green behemoth. A small, gray, speaking Xenos. It looked like an equid, a donkey, but it was shrieking in a high-pitched, utterly annoying voice. It bounded out from behind the hovel. "Shrek, Shrek, don't do it. They just want a hug." The behemoth paused. Do you understand the cosmic horror of that moment, soldier? He was immune to a bolt pistol and the collective fire of the Death Korps, yet he stopped for a shrieking donkey Xenos. He stared at the creature, then at his mate, then back at us. In his eyes there was only one thing: annoyance. He was inconvenienced. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't defeated. He was merely bothered. It was the ultimate defiance of the Imperial Creed, treating the most disciplined army in the Imperium like a mild administrative nuisance. The green Xenos lowered his fists. Fine, fine, he grumbled, his voice still a massive, earth-shaking sound. But only because my donkey said so. If you ever step on my onion patches again, you'll regret it. We stood there, Krieg, in full armor, and we were called off not by a retreat order, but by the whim of a talking donkey and the domestic irritation of a swamp ogre. Absurdity had defeated us. I ordered the full tactical withdrawal. We built the perimeter. We filed the report, threat category, absurd, to the Inquisition, knowing they would never believe a word. How do you fight something whose only heresy is the stubborn desire to be left alone on his own filthy land? We retreated, but my work was not done. Back at the staging area, I had 3 Kriegers executed, not for failing the charge, but for the small, almost imperceptible tremor of doubt they showed. For the fraction of a second when, seeing the donkey and the ogre arguing, I swear to the Emperor, I saw the lines around their gas mask lenses crinkle. They smiled. Absurdity is the first crack in the foundation of the imperial faith. It tells the soldier that the universe makes no sense. And if the universe makes no sense, why are we dying? I executed them to restore the sense of the universe, to remind the rest that discipline is the only thing standing between us and the swamp filth. That's the Bog Heresy, soldier. Never forget it.